talk over each other.
We were told that this was all sorted, that we were now in the sort of open waters of Brexit. That clearly wasn't the case.
You'd make it more difficult.
Isabel, shut up.
Excuse me.
Hang on. Let's not descend. Let's not descend into doing so. Hang on.
Civility in politics.
Yeah.
Is that
well,
your
we'll come on to that.
I mean,
we'll come on to
your
that.
example of politeness in politics?
And I'm in
because it's low and poor.
Oh, come on, Isabel.
All right.
And I have to say, Jackie, in 11 years of live TV, nobody has ever turned to me and spat, shut up. Now, you could get a lot worse than that, and I get much worse online, but it isn't setting a high standard,
I apologise for telling you to shut up. I don't think I spat.
I've never told anyone to shut up on live TV.
If you are still going to vote for the Labour or Conservative Party, then it seems that you are becoming the enemy of not only everyone, but also of Isabel Oakeshott herself. On the 10th of January 2025, a heated discussion broke out about the position of the British Labour Party in relation to gangs, and this caused a flurry of criticism from politicians. The official position of the Labour Party under the leadership of Keir Starmer has faced fierce condemnation due to their unwillingness to support a national investigation into the widespread problem of groomer gangs that threaten our communities, especially in the north of England.
So what does the Trump victory mean for the UK? Well, basically, shares in Nigel Farage just skyrocketed. The Reform UK leader was the only British parliamentarian to be in the heart of the Donald Trump camp last night as that victory became apparent and now becomes the single best connected British politician into the new Trump administration. This is basically a nightmare for Keir Starmer and for David Lammy, who has in the past labelled Trump a woman-hating Nazi sociopath. All very well if you're trying to get a few cheap cheers from Labour students, not so great when you actually find yourself sitting around the table.
Some argue that this reluctance is due to fear of appearing racist or Islamophobic, as many of these gangs are made up of men of Pakistani Muslim origin. This controversial position was influenced by an official Labour report published by West Streeting, which stated that referring to groomer gangs as Asian could reinforce harmful stereotypes about Islam. But they are also responsible because they were the ones who contributed to the culture that allowed it to be hidden and continues to do so. I see criminals, outright criminals, monsters, and human apologies, and it requires our attention. It is extremely shameful that so many people in positions of influence and power have been too cowardly to tell the truth.
With the guy. So it's super awkward for Labour. I can reveal that some months ago, Nigel Farage, putting country before petty politics, actually privately offered to provide the Prime Minister with something of an entree to the Trump camp. As I understand it, basically, Starmer did nothing about that. Well, what a muppet. You know, why wouldn't you take up an offer like that? It would have positioned him much better than he's positioned now. There's a whole bunch of implications now for the UK on everything from net zero to the Chagos Islands to immigration here. And I'm going to be posting some more detail on that with some more revelations shortly.
This policy has become the main reason that the problem has remained in the shadows for so long, and this is simply unacceptable. Critics, especially on the right, loudly claim that excessive political correctness allows criminals to continue their atrocities with impunity, endangering vulnerable young girls. More and more members of Parliament from the Labour Party, including the brave Sarah Champion, are leaving the ranks of their party and demanding a national investigation. People feel that the Labour Party has betrayed them by refusing to face the truth and consider the cultural aspects of this terrible problem. Recent shocking revelations about the scale of these gangs' activities and the ongoing cover-up have caused a storm of public outrage. Many demand to bring to justice those who turned a blind eye to this. People are confident that until these issues are thoroughly investigated, the full scale of the scandal will remain hidden, and the victims will not receive a drop of justice. After previous issues focusing on Starmer and his ineffective government, Isabel Oakeshott spoke anxiously about lawlessness and rising crime in the UK, focusing on issues such as the increasing flow of immigration and its threatening impact on public safety.
It isn't because the man is stupid, it's because, and this is a theme I keep returning to, he lacks judgment. And that is so important for somebody at the top of politics. If you don't have the right judgment, you're not going to last long. So you ask the question, how does he get this off the front pages? Here's what I'm going to say about that. This is not going to go away until he reveals his secret.
Yes.
Now, I don't know exactly what his secret is, but he sure as hell has got one or more secrets, and they relate in some way to Lord Ali and to his family. Now, I don't know how those two things overlap, but there is a secret there. There are papers all over this. They are waiting for their moment. There are people other than newspaper journalists over this too. Lord Ashcroft has already indicated that he is writing.
She bitterly emphasized that the culture of denial permeates both conservative and liberal circles. Labour leaders and politicians who refuse to take responsibility for the chaos that has engulfed the country are creating an atmosphere of impunity where criminals feel at ease. Irresponsibility and a frivolous approach to fighting crime, from surveillance on the London Underground to brazen shoplifting, create a terrible sense of insecurity in society. Oakeshott angrily criticised the government's failure to deal with minor crimes, warning that ignoring these problems would only lead to their escalation into more serious offences. She also noted an alarming shift in public opinion, with affluent neighbourhoods remaining isolated from the unrest faced by working-class neighbourhoods. This is unacceptable.
I think that comment will haunt him for his entire premiership.
It will, yeah.
Who is ever going to forget that he said that? Now, do you remember David Cameron was mocked for so-called chillaxing?
Yes.
But David Cameron never actually said he likes to chillax. That was someone else's assessment. Here we have a guy who is auditioning for the most important job in the land, and he's telling us his terms and conditions are that he's not going to work on a Friday night. Are you absolutely kidding me at this point? I mean, one of the key qualities in a prime minister has to be exceptional stamina and the willingness to sacrifice pretty much everything.
According to Oakeshott, the lack of support for strengthening law enforcement and tougher penalties has given criminals the courage to act with impunity, while the political class continues to indifferently ignore the real problems of ordinary people. In response to these alarming signals, many commentators expressed their deep disappointment, and some even stated that they would never vote for either the Conservative or the Labour Party again due to their complete inability to cope with the current crisis. People openly expressed their dissatisfaction with the increase in crime, the lack of consequences for offenders, and a sense of the collapse of social values. Many people believe that both major parties are responsible for this mess, and it's time for a change. Public opinion is changing, and more people are demanding action and accountability from the authorities. Critics point out that Starmer and his colleagues who once loudly condemned corruption in the Tory party are now behaving no better, if not worse. The hypocrisy has become People express their dissatisfaction, noting that the mainstream media such as Channel 4 and the BBC have failed to adequately respond to these scandals. Many people understand that the media is not aware of the growing discontent with the corrupt actions of the Labour Party.
Well, that was quite lively, wasn't it? I thought there were a few standout moments. I thought that the period in the Rishi Sunak interview where he was challenged by a member of the audience called Fliss about the appalling failures in cancer care that her late father, unfortunately had, was very, very powerful indeed. I mean, what can you say? It took 9 months, she said, in order for him to get a diagnosis, and then another 9 months before he was unfortunately diagnosed as metastatic. The cancer had spread. Lost him. And what was there to say? It's just an absolute abject failure.
It is. I'm just going to be very, very open. We haven't got long. You can tell me I'm utterly wrong. I think he was skewered when it came to the betting thing, understandably. Don't people get upset. That was the most lively and punchy I've seen.
Public opinion is split. Some say they will never vote for Labour again, citing the obvious moral decline they are witnessing. Commentators have also expressed concern about Starmer's personal life, and rumours about his past and connections to figures such as Lord Ali have only increased distrust. People are demanding transparency, arguing that the public has the right to know the truth behind these stories. In response, public opinion seems to have begun to lean towards the need to hold politicians accountable for their actions. And some have declared their allegiance to parties such as Reform UK, as they believe that both Labour and the Tories have failed to address the most important issues. The focus has shifted from politics itself to the growing sense of dishonesty and corruption in the country's political landscape. And this is causing anger and discontent among citizens. Share your thoughts in the comments. See you later.